No, turn it up.
No. Right, firstly, I've got two very important things. Hello? I've got two very important things to say. Firstly, the police have been spoken. Hello? The police have been spoken to me. They praised the impeccable behaviour of our people today. They've also informed me that the Labour-led anti-fascists have kicked off against the police of the town and they've disgraced themselves. But more importantly than that, the Reds are half a mile up that road. They know where we are, and the police have got them penned in. Now, very importantly, if they do try to break through, we'll fight with the police. It's none of our business. No one was get involved whatsoever. I'd just like to tell you a few things about Keith Brown, because most of you probably know him.
I hear you. Lay down.
Can you hear me?
Closer to the mic.
Keith was portrayed by the media as some type of racist thug. That is absolutely ridiculous. I met Keith. I lived with Keith. I regarded Keith as my friend. And one thing struck me. Every time he talked about his neighbour, the man that finally killed him, he talked about him as Mr. Calm. There was never any racist language or racist intent in Keith. Keith turned to the BNP and the BNP councillors when he was let badly down by the council's neighbourhood management system and the local police, the neighbourhood policeman inspector. Every time Keith complained to the council or the police, he was accused of being a racist. Every time Corn complained to the police or the council, he was taken seriously and he was vigorously investigated. That just shows you how political correctness has taken over the modern police force. After Keith turned to the BNP, we tried to help him as much as we could with his problems, but we were hit with the same brick wall as he was. But this made Keith determined to help the BNP because he saw what we were doing was right. He came leafleting. He was a non-stop leafleter. He was never tired. He came, he did full days. Some of my ward, it's country areas. He brought the country ways relentlessly, all day long. One day, a spring day, we went out in t-shirts. Well, you know what spring days can be. It turned to hail and snow. We were like snowmen walking around, but we carried on. I'm really proud of Keith, and I was proud today. I'm going on the tonight for me now. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'd just like to say very shortly tribute to Keith Brown. Keith Brown was my friend. Keith Brown was my friend. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Keith Brown was my friend. I first met Keith about 4 years ago. When I first met him, I knew he was a serious dude. He's a big fella. Strong in the eyes, in the heart. Didn't take much convincing to tell Keith that the BNP was his way. He did get involved with the BNP and he started leafleting with us, as I was already mentioned. And I will stress the point, Keith is one of the best leafleters and canvassers I've ever met. Because he got the faith in his heart. He went out morning, noon and night. And just for Keith's efforts, we wouldn't have 9 councillors in Stoke-on-Trent today. Two months before Keith was murdered, he confided in me what was going on with his neighbour and how serious it was. And that's when really the BNP got involved in the schools trying to alert the police to what was going on there and the real aggravation that was going on between him and his neighbour. The police were deaf to those approaches, and that's where what we're really pointing the finger at, and these little things put out today. The police have let Keith down, they've let his family down, and it's an utter disgrace. Keith's neighbour threatened to kill Keith's children, and to burn his house down, and to kill his dog, and to kill his son, and kidnap his son. Keith's brake pipes were cut on his van. His window screen was smashed in his van. You could imagine the nightmare. But Keith always kept it under control. Keith was an ex-boxer, and he could contain it, and he knew if ever he lashed out at his next door neighbours, the police would come down on him like a ton of bricks. And that's why I can tell you here and now that Keith wasn't the agitator on that day when he was murdered. It's been expressed in the papers. That's not true. The instigator of that murder and crime on that day was calm. Nothing to do with Keith. And so, yeah, right. The big thing about Keith is he wouldn't back down. He would not retreat. That's the big story today. He's a man who was living that nightmare for 2 years with his family. And you know what? He said, I am not moving. I am not moving out of this house. I will not go. I will resist the police. I will resist my neighbour. And is that not an example for us here today in the BNP?
Yeah.
Why should he move? That's what he said to himself, and he said, I'm not moving, and you say, come. When the big struggles come to us, and they are going to come over the next couple of decades, we're going to need to show similar strength, similar grit, similar backbone that Keith showed in this instance. Finally, I'd just like to add Keith Brown's name to the roll of honour of this party, because of the example that he showed, not just because of the work he's done, but because of the example he showed in the way that he showed determination and under fortitude, because that's an example for all of us here, the one that we're going to have to embrace in the future if we're going to succeed. And so let's remember Keith, let's put him on our roll of honour, and let's celebrate his success. Thank you.
A lot to say, not a lot of time to say it in. But one thing I feel we must do is have a minute's silence for Keith. Yeah. If you don't mind, we'll have a minute's silence now, please. Thank you. Organiser for the West Midlands, I'd like to thank everybody who's come down here today. I've seen people from all over the shop. I know how tight things are with regard to money, and I know a lot of you have made a considerable sacrifice, and it really, really is appreciated. Thank you very much for that, everybody. Now, there have been a few defining moments in my political career. I remember getting elected, that was pretty good. Let me tell you, to stand here in front of hundreds of people for a cause like this, it's pretty high up. Believe me, it's an absolute privilege to address you good people that have made the effort to come. And my God, it is a good cause. When I heard about what had happened to Keith, I was a very, very angry man. A very angry man. I'm still angry about it, that such a thing can happen. in a country like ours.